Millions of years ago, the evolution of man started with all mammals walking on all fours. Therefore, our genetic code has been set to the same basic structure for all mammals. But over time, evolution forced some mammals to stand back on their hind legs to hunt or to scout for dangerous predators in the area. By doing so, some of these mammals stayed bipedal and evolved into man as we know it today. Our body structure is still the same as it was millions of years ago, except of course we are bipedal now and our life does not include hunting for our own food nor fighting off predators. Over time, the evolution of man did not evolve equally on both sides. Our bodies became complacent to the comforts of civilization and therefore we adapted to this lifestyle. Through the time of man, physical exercise was a must for survival. Then man began to keep up with similar skills passed on through generations, almost up until current times. When horse and buggy became a common thing, man started the decline of natural skills and exercises. Muscle structure is the same, it has been for millions of years. The only difference is now we do not use our body the same way it's supposed to be used for. All muscles have function and purpose. We forgot with time, the purpose. So, let's keep purpose in mind and look at our anatomical structure. We are all built the same when it comes to us mammals, just as apes, monkeys, humans, or dogs. Anything that walks on land that is a mammal has the same basic structure as we do. We are separated in two, our upper body and our lower body. Our upper body contains the big major muscle groups like chest and back. All those muscles in our upper body all are attached to our shoulders. Because we genetically were made to walk on our hands and feet, our muscle structure is still the same. So we must simulate those movements to maximize our muscular growth and stimulate our structural code for minimum injuries and damage. Now let's talk purpose. What is the purpose for all muscles? Let's start with our chest muscles. Our chest muscles are connected to our shoulders. The reason for being connected to our shoulders is because our chest is the suspension for the shoulders when we crawl, walk, or run on all four legs. Let's take a closer look at what muscle structure is for four legs and its purpose. Since we became bipedal, we have forgotten how to use our chest muscles correctly, and we have gotten into the bad habit of using our arms instead of chest muscle. Let's look at the basics. As you can see below, the shoulders are the suspension for impact when hitting the ground hands first. Muscles connected to our shoulders are our biggest in our upper body, therefore they have to be the primary muscles for activation and not the arms as everyone has become accustomed to. Today, we know only a few ways to train the chest by ordinary science. They all involve moving our arms first by either bending in the elbow or by rotating in the shoulder. We all know that this guy here above doesn't know anything about training his chest. He just does automatically based on his everyday movements. Everything we have learned today has come from repetition of bad habits since the beginning of the 1900s, when the first exercise equipment was produced and sold for physical fitness. The average consensus of how our upper body does and performs was based on man's automatic reflex to grab, push, pull with hand and arm, made us lose our basics. We all started someplace in our goals for physical fitness, and with time we assumed we would get better at it. But as we find out with injuries and bad posture, that something must be wrong with what we do. Let's look at what we do today and where it came from. Here is the first documented bench press illustration from the early 1900s. As you can see, he is lying flat on the floor and moving his arms up and down. In this position, as you can see, there is no room for using your shoulders for suspension and then forces all the weight over onto the arms, forcing the weight down and bending your elbows. Today, this is still the basics for chest development used by all the best bodybuilders in the world. Among those, we have 7-time Mr. Olympia Arnold Schwarzenegger and the rest of the founders of modern bodybuilding. These old habits are what people know as the right way to do it. But let me ask you this. How often do you hear people complaining about bad shoulders from doing bench press? All the equipment being used through time to develop our chest muscles has been anatomically incorrect for our bodies. None of the equipment gives our shoulders room to move and keep the weight pressure onto the shoulders. By design, all benches made for the chest have been flawed. We do not use our elbows to contract our chest, we use our shoulders. Testing. Bring both your shoulders forward fast and feel the contraction. Prove my point. So what makes TSCFIT different? Casper Jorgensen has developed a brand new way to train chest and back by using simulated movements that will contract, isolate, and activate our genetic muscle memory from millions of years ago. The first step was to change the workout bench so the shoulders can have free room to move. This way the shoulders can float freely up and down like suspensions on a car, patent pending, the TSCFIT flat bench. Second, Casper then invented a system that will take full advantage of muscle isolation and stimulation of the whole body. He has created the first muscle activated as the primary muscle in the whole exercise.